So it's here, brothers and sisters. The Crow hath returneth. After disastrous trailer, and very suspiciously, Lionsgate hiding the movie from the critics. I saw it. What did I think of? Well, probably the best thing you can say about this, it's not Borderlands, it's not Madam Web, so it's not the worst film of the year, but yeah, it's fairly terrible. Now, some people are surprisingly being like, oh, it's not so bad. I guess it depends on your scale. So, what is it? Well, the nicest way to put it, it's very bland. And I mean bland action film. It has goth touches, goth aspects, but really it's just an action film. And yes, there were action scenes in the 1994 classic, way better than this. So I would instruct people to just say, yeah, just go back to the original. So that's the best we can say. It's a pale echo of the 94 film. It's doing its own story. Unfortunately, it didn't really improve anything. It just is a very meandering plot that builds up to a very disappointing conclusion that's meant to set up, yes, a Crow cinematic universe so they can cash out Brandon Lee's dead corpse. It is what it is. So it's not as god awful as I expected, because obviously, if a film is so bad, it's just funny. It's still fairly weak. So, what is the story? Well, they took the classical story, so we are getting Eric falls in love, Shelley is there, and then tragedy ensues and she dies. He has to get revenge. But then, this is where it gets really hilarious. Instead of doing what the Crow did, which is because we don't know too much about either one of them, right? We get little shards, we get little pieces. We have to construct it in our own minds, right? Eric is a very kind of classic tragic anti-hero who has lost his love and needs revenge. But it doesn't have the style, the charisma, or even vision that the 94 film has. It is just very bleak. It's a lot of blood. I did not expect this much blood. Granted, it's CGI blood, but it's the blood. And I don't think it's right to say that even what Bill is up to is kind of imitating the older film because this guy is just like a goth guy with a lot of steroids. But I'm sure he put it into work naturally. So he's a semi muscular, I guess, demonic agent guy and he's gonna cure the city of the evil bad guy who killed Shelley. And I will say this: I think probably Danny is one of the better parts of this film. A lot of people are complaining that the villain's not very good. I disagree there. I think he actually has a good presence. The problem is when he reveals his power. And again, this is no spoilers, but we can't get out of it. So Eric is facing a demonic opponent this time, or well, he has demonic powers. But the power is just really stupid. It feels like it's scary at the beginning, but then when we get to the end, it's like, oh, okay. It's like there's no tension, right? Like they try to do things to make Eric weaker. He's not as physically powerful as he was in the 94 film. So they give him some more weaknesses. They add more lore, like, oh, his power depends on XYZ. If I say more than that, I'm going to ruin the film because, like, that's not much of a challenge. All he has to do is this, and it's like he's going to win. And we know he's going to win because he's the good guy. There isn't much here. A lot of people are praising Bill's performance. I think he's very committed. That's about it. And they make a cute couple, but I wasn't like, oh my god, they were meant to be. It's just very bland. They just see each other in kind of like I guess this halfway house slash prison. They fall in love, and that's it. And we do spend a lot of time with them, and I think that's not helping the film. The film is very slow. The film is really slow. A big part of it is just building up Shelley and Eric. I don't think he's ever called Draven, so he's just Eric in this one. I don't know why, but he's just Eric. So we spend a long time with Eric and Shelley. She dies, and then we get into the revenge. It's just that the action scenes are boring. It's trying to be John Wick, but it doesn't have any of the style, the class. It's just very weak choreography. It's just same movements, repeat cycle. It's very intense. There are a lot of scenes here that are extremely explicit. And I appreciate that that's what they're going to contribute. Like, okay, they're taking it all the way. I just don't think it added much to the story. And the story itself is just kind of weak and lame. So is it radically insulting to Brandon Lee? No, they are kind of doing their own thing. So it's not as radically insulting as I expected, but it's really not that good either. It's hard to judge this thing. I'm going to go more on the I hate it scale, and it is legit bad. I mean, it is just really awful in many places. That said, the director has a few nice stylish touches here and there. A few scenes do stick out. There's a final scene at the opera. The trailer shows a little bit of it. That was nice. That's about it. I mean, it is really just bleak mush. And it just keeps getting more bleak and bleak and bleak and bleak. And yeah, it just feels like what it is. It's a pale imitation. It's a very corporate product. It is R rated, so it's trying to be slick and be like, oh, we're so cool. It's a lot of blood. There's curtain sex. And again, it's not like Bill or whatever looks ugly. It just feels like it's just I don't care. I really don't care about this romance. I just don't care about this version of The Crow. It's not as awful as I expected, but it's not much to praise here. Still, there is an audience. I do think people are ready for The Crow to come back, but not like this. It does seem like it's going to need a much more powerful vision, a bigger budget. It needs to do something because this is just very, very weak. It's not as good as the John Wick movies, and it's not as laughably bad as Madame Web. Whatever else, Madame Web is at least really hilarious in how stupid it is. This one is just kind of bleak and boring in how stupid it is. So I'm going to give this a very severe 4.5 out of 10. It is below average. I don't recommend it. I don't even recommend it as a DVD. But, you know, if you catch it later on cable or for free, you could do worse. Just do the laundry while you're watching it. You're not going to miss anything.